My ex deleted our photos on Instagram. What do I do? First and foremost, the initial thought for most people in this situation is negative. It's a bad thing. It's horrible. It's the worst thing that could have possibly happened. And I understand. I get why there would be concern and anxiety and frustration and anger around the situation. And we can interpret the act of removing your photos from their Instagram as a ending of the relationship in its entirety. Now, don't get me wrong. At this point, if they are your ex, that means that the relationship is over. But we have a tendency of convincing ourselves that there is still the potential or the possibility for the relationship. And sometimes we even believe that we are still in a relationship. It's just a separation. For me, I choose to look at this as a positive, right? So if they went through the action of deleting your photos from their Instagram, that probably means that there are still some feelings that are there, right? Because an individual who doesn't care about your photos being there is indifferent to the situation. And that's usually when I'm concerned. So I wanted to talk about this because it is something that I get asked all the time in my one-on-one coaching sessions. And actually, before we even jump into it, if this is your first time on the channel, welcome. My name is Danny and I'm one of the head coaches for the With My Ex Again project. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And if you've already been part of the community for quite some time, welcome back. So what are some things that you can do, right? What are some recommendations, some tips? And for me, I think the first thing that we should take into consideration is they care. If they didn't care at all, they wouldn't need to delete the photos. Indifference or contempt is one of the horsemen of a relationship, or the horsemen of the apocalypse of a relationship. And if you're not familiar with that term, it was deemed by an individual named John Gottman, who is considered the father of the psychology of relationships. And if they keep the photos up, that means that they have no emotional reaction when they see them. The action of deleting the photos means that they actually care. Now, let me also clarify this, right? Because I don't want people to assume, especially individuals who have actually gone through the process of deleting their ex from their Instagram, to think that I'm saying, oh, well, you still care, if you know for yourself that, no, I didn't, I stopped caring and that's why I did it. There's two primary reasons why people delete photos from their Instagram. And the first one, like I said, is because there are still feelings there. There is still love and connection and care and all of those things. And sometimes it's just too difficult and too painful to see your ex on your page, or for your ex to see you on their page. And therefore they need to delete you in order to forget you. The secondary reason is usually just because enough time has passed and that person has moved on and they're in a new relationship and they're trying to build a new life and all of these things. And having you on their profile is probably not the best thing, especially if they're in a new relationship and all of these things. So I think it's very important that we take time into consideration here. How long has it been since you guys broke up? But at the end of the day, the removal of photos from an Instagram page to me usually means that there is some emotion still attached there, whether it be love, anger, frustration, any of those things. And if you are trying to reconnect with an ex, and this is the case, I like to view this as a positive and utilize this when moving forward, right? So the second thing here too is don't give them the power. If you are in a no contact period and you break the no contact period to ask them why, you are giving them the power and validating for them that they did the right thing. Essentially, you are enabling the behavior by reinforcing their lash out with a response. Don't give them that power. Stay strong. And if one of the issues within the relationship was, let's say, for example, you were displaying needy or clingy or anxious behaviors within the relationship, and you've decided to go into a no contact period so that you can prove that you are not that needy, clingy person and you're focusing on yourself, and you notice that this happens and you immediately break no contact and jump into asking and interrogating and doing all of those things, you are reinforcing for them the reasons for why they left the relationship, because maybe they left the relationship because they felt like they were being controlled or suffocated or whatever the case may be. So for you in particular, it's important that you recognize the fact that you still have the power in this situation if you are in a no contact period. Don't acknowledge the fact that they deleted the photos. It's beneficial, I would say, and I would recommend not acknowledging the action. The third thing here is don't retaliate. The last thing you want to do when there is a fire is give it any oxygen, because it'll just get worse. So if you choose to retaliate, you are fueling the fire, and it will most likely end with a negative result. Be neutral, stay away. There is nothing positive that will come from you retaliating in that situation, right? So let's say your ex deletes all your photos and then immediately you go to your Instagram and you delete everything as well. It's obvious what you are doing. So for me, I would say just leave it be. And to be honest, most of the time I recommend people in this type of situation anyways, when you're going into a no contact period, to not be scoping out your ex's profile. Silence their profile, silence their stories so that you don't see them come up. If you have to, remove them from your Instagram if you are obsessively checking all the time and it's not helping you in your healing or your processing of the situation, so that you can rebuild your self-confidence and get to a place where you actually stand a chance to reconcile or reattract. So if you are in a position where you are incessantly checking your ex's Instagram, stop. The fourth thing here is do you. Continue to focus on you. Grow as an individual. Don't stray from your current journey of self-discovery and rebuilding your identity and healing, right? That will benefit you far more in the long run than giving this short-term situation any energy. And I know that is easier said than done. I'm a third-party person who is looking at you and saying, hey, it'll be fine, ignore it, don't do anything about it. But realistically speaking, it's a very subjective experience for you. You're going to have all the feelings. You're going to have the rush of emotion. You're going to have that anxiety and that fear and that, oh my God, this is the end of everything because they've removed the photos. And I empathize with you. I understand. But at the end of the day, it's more important to focus on the long-term goal than the short-term goal. And the long-term here is let them go through what they have to go through. Let them go through their process. Let them heal in the way that they need to heal, because that will benefit them in the sense of getting over the situation when it comes to the negative emotions that are attached to the relationship, and actually position you to be able to reconciliate and reattract without those feelings being involved. So for me, I always say neutral, neutral, neutral. That is the best thing that you can do in these types of situations. And realistically speaking, it is hard. It sucks. And if you are struggling with this and you are currently in the thick of this situation, and maybe this just happened to you and you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do, like I feel like I'm going crazy, reach out. I help people all the time in these types of situations. I would recommend booking a one-on-one coaching session. And if that's something that you feel like you need, I will provide a link in the description box down below so that we can talk about the situation, so we can unpack it, so that we can strategize, so you feel like you have a plan moving forward and you're not just endlessly floating in this ether of limbo and not really knowing where things are going. So if that is something that you are interested in, like I said, I will put the link in the description box down below. If you have been in this situation before, if you've experienced this, leave a comment. You know, this is a community. We created this channel for you guys. So your experiences count. Your way of viewing the situation, your perception and your perspective counts. So leave a comment. I read as many of them as I can. I try to answer as many as I can. And it's because I want you guys to understand and feel that we are here for you guys, and we are trying to support you and help you through this period of time, because I know how incredibly difficult it is. If you are wanting to maybe spend a little bit more time trying to figure out the situation on your own, We have a ton of content for you that's free. We have the YouTube channel, we have the blogs, we have the articles. So anything that you need, we try to provide for you. Again, my name is Danny. I am your relationship coach. I hope you guys are staying happy and healthy, and I'll see you guys in the next video.